Hi, advanced folks. So hopefully you've had a chance to read through the PDF regarding JavaScript. So here is the file here and my HTML that we're looking at. And then I'll also open up my let's see. I'll also open up the JavaScript. Now, if you take a look at the hierarchy of the folders, the JavaScript that we're looking at is addcontent.js, and that's in your JS folder. So I'm just going to open that in text edit. And we'll have that ready. And then if we need to look at our CSS as well, that's something that we can look at. So through the reading, it was a little complicated because they had you going back and forth through different things. Hopefully you were able to follow along. But some of the things they looked at were putting in the JavaScript, also putting in script, document write. And so that's something that I'm going to do right now. So if I go up here and let's say after construction dot company in there, maybe I want to put a document write or some script. Now CSS might have some issues with that, so let's first look at typing that in. So in the page here, I think it was page 49 of that, it's got placing the script in the page. We're going to use script, which is right here, script. And I'm going to do document, right? And I'm going to write something. So I am going to use the single quotation, make sure it's straight up and down and not italicized. And maybe I'll do hello. And remember in the reading, document write is basically straight writing. It's a way to script it in. It's one line of JavaScript shows this method where it scripts it right in. You've got document, which is the object. The method is going to be, you're going to write, and then the parameters are inside the parentheses, and that's what you're hopefully going to write on this browser screen. Okay, so semicolon, save, refresh here. And, oh, I forgot the backslash script. So you can either put it at the end of that line, or you can either do backslash script. So it's really incorporating some computer programming here. And because my CSS is a little bit different, I didn't take a look at the CSS file. You'll notice it does write it right up here in hello. And I'm guessing that there's some divs and some things in there. So there might be some things where you might have to maneuver them around. So practice using the document write in that file. I know it looks a little bit different than in the page that they have, but I do want you to at least attempt a few document writes, because that's something that I'd like you to then do in the files that we did that was about you. So document write as part of a script, that's something that you're going to want to look at. And then another thing is we can move it around. So I'm going to take this script and maybe I just copy. Oh, actually, let's do another one. I'm going to put it, see if I can put it inside this paragraph here. So I'm going to hit that. Oops, that's emphasize. I'm going to do it after that. I might do another script and document write. And then maybe I'm going to use like an H3. I don't know. Let's do that, an H3. So I can still use HTML in there, H3. But I have to have it in the single quotation. And then I might do welcome or howdy. Let's just do howdy. It's a little bit of backslash H3. Single quotation, semicolon, and then don't forget the backslash script. And then you see it adds it in there. Now I'm guessing, let's see, let's look at our CSS here. Oops, wrong one. So look at our CSS. There might be some things that we didn't anticipate. Okay, so there's a lot of information here. If there's H3, it's going to float. And so that's probably one reason why it shows up down here. So that's all good. Same with, so if we wanted hello up there to show up inside of our little square here, we would use an H3, or you could use an H1, but H3 is probably better. H3. H3. Save. And then we have hello, howdy, that sort of thing. We could write welcome. And I think that's the sample that was on page 49, on the page that says placing the script on the page. This is direct script, so we're not calling upon the JS file or the JavaScript file. So I might put welcome, save, and refresh. Now let's incorporate using that JS file. And that is going to be something where we can put right in there. If you took a look at the JS file, you'll notice that it has to deal with a program that calculates the time of day it is. So it takes the internal clock of the computer using the variable today and new date. So date is actually something that's JavaScript, and it works with your computer. So let me find that right here. So here's your JavaScript. Date is something unique to programs, especially JavaScript. That's something that you can't change. We assign it to the variable today. And then we are then saying from that today or from that date, we're now going to get the hours. And get the hours is unique to JavaScript as well. And we're going to talk more about what are some things that are unique to JavaScript. And then it finds the hour of today. And it says, hey, if the hour is greater than 18, hours are between 0 and 24. It's going to do good evening, good afternoon, good morning, and then anything else, it's welcome. And then it's going to output it as H3, which then we'll put it inside of that white box. And it's going to spit out the greeting. The greeting is anything in the single quotation. And we created a variable called greeting. So for those of you who are new to programming, we have to declare variables. Similar to like in math, when we assign X to be a variable, it's a holding place for information. So greeting is a holding place for text that actually has some type of greeting called welcome, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. And we call upon it using the document right in there. So let's call upon this script. And let's say I can even do it maybe after the script, so we can put another script in. I'm going to do that. So I'm just going to keep adding here into my HTML. And I'm going to use some white space here. So script. Okay. And then we need to connect this. So similar to, let me get rid of that. Similar to creating a link, SRC, we're going to use the attribute SRC. That's the source. So script, SRC is the source, and we're going to then put the path of the file. So it's in the JS folder / and we have to call upon it, add content.js, semicolon, or sorry, quotation marks. We're going to close that script up, and then we're going to need a backslash script. So to recap, script, that's JavaScript. We are finding the source of our JavaScript. The source of our JavaScript is in the location JS, the folder JS. And then we're calling upon add content JS file. And then we're just closing it out, that tag or that element. Save, refresh, and there you go. Maybe in here, instead of good evening, good afternoon, good morning, and then it defaults to welcome, because if for some reason something's not working, we don't want welcome, maybe we just want hello or thank you. And refresh. So that's where it takes our time and does some calculating for us. We could do some other things, and that's what we're going to do tomorrow. We'll work on this. But what I'd like you to do is keep playing around with this, and then with your About Me file. So for example, I'm going to use Kira's here. This was hers, and hers is a little different. Oops. Because okay. For Kira's, I worked on this as well. Let me find my folders here. Hopefully your folders are a little bit better than mine. Let me refresh. This was curious. I don't have her pictures in, but what I'd like you folks to do is work on using script, document right, and trying to create a time or something similar to what we did in the sample that I gave you, but I'd like you to recreate it. So let's go. Let me look at Kira's here. Sorry, let me close this out. And let me find Kira's. Let me download. This is her HTML and her CSS. I don't know if I really need to do her CSS yet, but just play around with it. And maybe I want some script right underneath her name. So I'm going to go ahead and try my script, see if it works. I'm going to use script, and I'm in our HTML script. And I am going to add some script using document right. Right. And I'm going to go ahead and give it an H2 maybe. Hopefully she didn't do anything crazy with her CSS. Oh, she does. She has it align, center, and be white. So let's see. This. Maybe I put scripting for this page. Now, clearly, that doesn't necessarily go with what the content is for this page, but I just want you to play around with it. And oops, and okay. And so we are going to do a semicolon and then a \script. Save. So this is what I just added. Hopefully it says scripting for this page. Let's see if it works. Oops. Sorry, some things are going to pop up in about 2 seconds. And they're scripting for this page. So try adding some headers using script. Maybe change out about me, what I love to do, and using the document script. Or sorry, the document right, using the JavaScript. And then also, oops, sorry, let's close this out. That's what happens when you get too many things open here. And then also, let's try to add maybe a JavaScript file that says good morning, good afternoon, good evening, based on the time. Or maybe you say, welcome to, good evening, welcome to my page. That sort of thing. So then you might need to then open up a new file. This is going to be JavaScript, so I'm going to save it as make sure I'm in the same right location here. I think this was under my downloads in this folder. And I might say, I'm gonna call it, this is Kira, so I'm gonna say Kira.js. And then I can do some of my scripting. If you want to comment for commenting in JavaScript, because it is a programming language that's a little bit different than HTML, you can do comments using the backslash, two of them, and say, this is my JS file. So as you notice, there's, when it's more of a higher level scripting language, there is more of a technical use for words, a technical and unique words used for JavaScript, and it is different than HTML. So HTML, you can't use the // to comment. You have to use the carets and the exclamation point kind of thing. That's similar to, let's say, if I was going to do a comment here, I'd have to do the opening caret, exclamation point, 2 dashes, and then comment, and then 2 dashes, and then a closing caret. Unfortunately, when you do the carets, it makes it all one, so you got to be careful with text edit. So that would be commenting in HTML. Commenting in JavaScript is this // Okay, so this is my JS file. I'm going to find today's date. So maybe I do variable, and maybe instead of type today, I do a T equals new date, capital D for date, open and close parens, semicolon, variable. I'm going to use the letter H. There are going to be some things that are unique to JavaScript, so I can't just use the word date, and I can't use hour. So I use variables like T and H, or something a little bit more descriptive like today or hour now. Those are things that you just need to be aware of. Equals today dot, equals T, because that's the date, get hours, capital H for hours. That is unique to JavaScript. Period. And a variable, maybe I use G. You don't need to use words, you can use letters, just like in math. So if my hour H, maybe I just do 2, is greater than 12, maybe I put curly bracket, I put my greeting is going to now be welcome to my page. Then a semicolon, closing curly bracket, else, just like an if-else statement, else, and maybe I just have 2. If it's greater than 12, it's going to say welcome to my page. Else, meaning if it's not greater than 12, then we're going to do a greeting. Good morning. And then closing curly bracket. And then I'm going to do a document right in here. And maybe I do an H. Sorry, that noise is my dog snoring. H2. I don't know if Kiri has any H2s. Maybe I do an H2 or H3. And then do plus, meaning we're adding to this document, right? Plus the greeting, which is G. Plus again, single quotation, h3, oops, backslash h3. And then, all right. Hopefully I spelled document wrong. Let's change that. Perfect. I'm going to save. And then I'm going to put this in my HTML. So maybe I'll put it right under Kira's name here. And I am going to call upon this. I'm going to call upon this JS file, and I'm going to use script. Here it's script, space src, that's the source, equals, quotation mark. It is not in a separate folder, I think. Let me double check here. You can make a separate folder, but for this one, I did not. So I'm just going, it's on the same level as my HTML, CSS, so I don't need a folder. I'm just going to call upon it, Kira.js. And then I need a closing caret and an opening backslash script. Closing tag, save. Hopefully I spelled everything correctly. Refresh. And there it says good morning. Now we could change this because it's an H3, I believe. I don't think Kira has anything in her CSS. So I could go ahead and change my H3s and say, hey, all H3s should be, maybe the color is magenta. I don't know if that's, and maybe it's a text, align, center. Save, refresh, and there we go. Oh, she does have some H3, so maybe I'll make it an H4 instead. And then go back here in my CS or my JS versus my CSS. Did you guys hear that? It's like my dog snoring. Here we go. My JS, and instead of an H3, I'm going to say it's an H4. Something different here. So I'm going to save, refresh my browser. And there you go. So good morning. If we ran this in the morning, actually, I don't want good morning. What am I saying? Oh, it is in the morning. So we're all set here. Maybe if we say it's less than, let's do 11 here and refresh there, because it's actually a little bit past 12. My clock must be slightly wrong. So if it's less than 11, great. If it was greater than 12, it would be a little different. So go ahead and change that up as well. So yes, I think actually if you did a search for JavaScript, let me do that, JavaScript 8. Here we go, date reference. Wonder if they're gonna tell you here. The date, the hours, it's from 0 to 23. So that's why when I said if it was less than 12, it actually was still referring to good morning. So I had to say, it's greater than 12. It was still saying good morning, just because it goes from 0 to 23 versus 1 to 24. So those are things that you've got to consider. So go ahead and play around with this. Tomorrow we're going to talk about how we can change this up, how we can look at this JavaScript in particular. But that's something that I'd like you guys to work on today and tomorrow, and I'll check in with you again tomorrow.